You had Schumann coming in the frame. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and Kirby's like, "Where's the home?"
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I review Georgia's 34-3 win over Clemson in the Aflac Kickoff game. We talk about our experiences on Saturday and what stood out to us during the game. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right, I'd make the just as we predicted joke, but I feel like we weren't too far off on this one, JP.
We weren't. I know that you were pretty spot on.
I gave Clemson too much credit.
We both did. I gave Clemson way too much credit.
Yeah. We'll just say we underestimated Georgia.
I made the joke that if I were there with you, like we were at the Ole Miss game or whatever, you would have come down the stairs and we really kicked their ass.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Carter.
Yeah, that was was that Ole Miss last year? Man.
Yeah, that was for Ole Miss. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what happened is like we just completely dominated them.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild. I was there with Lily. She thoroughly enjoyed it as well. It was a good crowd, good turnout. Although, as I pointed out to you via text picture, because you were asking about the stands, like I think it was early second half. Like there were definitely some empty seats on the what I would call the Clemson side. So I don't know what exactly was going on with that. I'll say they were loud, considering that they were loud, and especially I didn't realize how many Georgia fans were there until fourth quarter, and everyone turned their phone lights on. There were a lot of camera lights within that Clemson section, so there's a lot. I don't know what like the percentage was, but it was pretty lopsided. But I'll give some credit to the Clemson fans that were there. They were loud.
A lot of red seats that maybe hid the red.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that happens in Mercedes-Benz.
I saw the picture that you sent, and I was really like, I was blown away by how empty that was over there. Like, I saw Graham tweet out that I guess the game had mentioned that it was a sellout as of like a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading that, like, man, were there tickets available? Because I only saw tickets on the secondary market. So like, if there were that many empty seats, that means that people either just didn't go or were giving away tickets, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure. I was surprised. I mean, there are a lot of people out and about. Well, there's a lot of people out and about too, because like Dragon Con was this weekend. Also. So like, I will say, like, riding Marta, Lily was like, "Oh my gosh, everyone's costumes are so amazing!" Like,
yeah, dude.
She's all in. Like we saw like Spider-Man, like all kinds of like Star Wars people. It was pretty funny. So.
I saw somebody post a picture of some, I guess like it was like Monty Python, Monty Python and the search for the Holy Grail or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They had the castle wall, and then like the little soldiers, like they were mocking King Arthur.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. They were dressed up like the soldiers with the mustaches.
Yeah, it was good.
I haven't seen a costume that made me laugh out loud like that. But yeah, that's always good. I used to work down there at Peachtree Center, and that was like one of the best. Like the Friday before Dragon Con, you can just go down into the lunch to get your lunch or whatever, and there's just people, furries walking around, all kinds of different things.
Right.
It's a good experience looking at all the Dragon Con folks.
Yeah,
mixed in with all of the college football.
Oh, I know. It's like worlds colliding. I forgot, like, something we missed in the preview, John, was that was happening. I forgot. I should have, and I knew it, and I should have known it because I remember the same thing happened at Oregon 2 years ago. I guess it's just always Labor Day weekend.
It's
Um,
always Labor Day weekend.
but I know you were able to make it out to the West Side Motor Lounge on Friday for
I,
the concert. How'd that go?
I did. It was great. And we got to hang out there. Ice Dog was there. Bobby, Anna, they came out. We had a good time out there. It was fun.
Cool.
Ice Dog and I got to go and hang out and shout out to Ice Dog. Had a blast. Appreciate it. Definitely want to run it back next time.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah. I was I had the FOMO from the text while I was like, stuck in Gaffney. No.
While you were driving through Gaffney.
I'll actually say I didn't get stuck in Gaffney. Actually, the worst traffic I had was in Charlotte and then in Georgia. Gaffney was fine. But I did get a bunch of updates because we stopped in Gaffney for some Popeyes. Lily was like, I want Popeyes. I want the Popeyes chicken sandwich, which by the way is excellent. I don't think I'd had it before. Really good.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Not
Oh, get
also,
out of
and I'm
here.
surprised that you like it. Well, because then when they released it, it was like, oh, like you couldn't get it, like the lines were crazy or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I've had it, but I don't remember it being. If I've had it, I don't remember it being as good as it was. And it had like really thick pickles. So I know you say no pickles. The
Yeah, no
pickles were,
pickles.
dude. The pickles were so good. So, anyways, sorry. Um,
I'll give
but yeah,
you I'll give you my pickles if
but
Carter's not around.
yeah. But so when we stopped there, I think I had like a million text messages and Twitter mentions that I was trying to read through quickly. But yeah, made it down late Friday night. Crashed with my sister and family. They had some friends in town that I hadn't seen for a long time. So it was a good weekend visiting with them too. So we had a good time. They were great hosts, and Lily got in some good cousin time with her cousins. So it was a lot of fun.
Good times. It's always fun for the Wood Clan to come down and get together.
Yeah. I think it was actually when I checked my notifications in Gaffney when I realized that friend of the show, Tim Riley, was going to be at the Blue Lot tailgate. And so I texted him. I was like, wait, you're coming to that? So went down there in the morning, met it with them. Uh, John, John Smith. I can't say John Tweet Sports anymore. John Smith,
The the handle formerly known as John Tweet
handle
Sports.
form. That's right. That's right. So he carried the torch from Greg very valiantly in helping get the tailgate set up. So John and Rodeo, Bobby, the whole crew was there. It was a good time. Lily and we got out of the house a little later than planned. I'm not complaining because it was so hot. It was brutal outside. So about an hour of tailgating was enough for me, honestly, in the heat.
Yeah. I,
So
I I remember on Saturday when I was doing my run, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine tailgating in this. This is insane.
I definitely felt I I had some people like saying a bunch of stuff like Friday, like, oh, like the line's moving and people are underestimating Clemson. And when you got in when the text came through that you finished your run, it made me feel better, John. So thank you.
I did get some questions about it. Yeah, dude, when I was on my run, I was listening to I can't remember who I was listening to Graham and George. They were doing their podcast and they were talking about the line. And I remember and I was like, I wonder what the line is now because we were talking about it. I was talking about it with Ice Dog John. We were talking about it that the line had moved down, and then I saw at least the link that I saw it had moved to like 10
Mhm.
points or something like that on one of the lines that I saw, and I was like, oh my God, like if I was a gambling person, I would probably go and throw a bunch of money at this.
Right.
Like I think I even tweeted it out, like looking at that line, like
Reminder: our picks are not gambling advice, and this is partially why.
yeah, seriously,
Uh,
I'm not a gambler at all.
yeah, yeah.
Carter was advising us on whether or not he should be betting on his fantasy football, and I was like, probably not, but whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got an
Yeah.
insane team though.
Oh, he says he's got an insane team.
Oh, I heard him. I heard him. Shout out Carter. What's up, Carter?
Spoken like a true degenerate.
Oh,
That's
Oh, he's
hilarious.
got Brock. He says he's got Brock and Ladd in his fantasy football team.
Oh, see, that's. I
they're in
mean,
the last round because they didn't really. They're just.
Sleeper picks. He
okay,
says.
okay, yeah, nothing wrong with taking a flyer on some Georgia players late.
I just had their filler pick.
Good call, Carter. Good
He's
call.
he's feeling good about his fantasy football team.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. I
Play on
mean,
this fantasy football league.
I have no idea what he said.
that was Carter's fantasy football minute. Maybe
Seriously.
possibly a new segment. Um, yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, get into the stadium, we're ready to go. Game starts, and then from there, I mean, I guess early vibes were a little iffy, I guess, right? Although I definitely like when they won the toss and elected to receive, I was like, bold strategy. Like, I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, great, because we would have deferred. So definitely cool with that, obviously. But like,
That's what Carter said. Carter goes, "Why did they pick to receive?" I was like, "Well, they probably lost the kickoff." He goes, "No, they picked it," and I was like, "What?"
yeah, that was interesting.
It's a
But
bold strategy, Cotton.
bold strategy, Cotton, indeed. I mean, I guess in general the defense looked great
That
all
Boston
game.
College.
I know we had like some early kind of like defensive line questions, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, shoot, we gave up 3 points and
We had
shut.
questions on the running back side. We had questions on, there were questions on who was going to step up, right? Like who's going to be
Yeah.
who's going to be the guy. I mean, I saw Warren Brinson, played really well.
Mm,
I thought we handled him. I thought we handled him up front at times. I think I had messaged the group like at one point we were getting mauled on one side. At various points I felt like we were getting beat up. At the beginning of the game, I thought our offensive line was playing like absolute hot garbage.
mm-hmm.
We could get nothing going. Like, yes, I feel like our running back situation. I think I remember when I was watching the game, I remember one of the questions was, at what game is Nate Frazier going to become,
Yeah.
running back one? And I remember we were all kind of thinking like, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it took maybe a couple of series, I feel like.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't know how it's going to go moving forward, but he kind of felt like not having him out there made us a worse offense. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, once he came in, it was like there was definitely a difference in the way the offense was operating, just because there was the threat to run.
Well,
Which,
yeah.
I mean, and I definitely feel like, pump the brakes on anything. Like, we haven't seen the offense yet, really. Feel like without ETN, like, let's see how everything looks when he's back. I feel like just because his not only running but also catching the ball out of the backfield. Although, man, Frazier did that pretty well too. Nice catch out of the backfield, like turned the wrong way, or like got spun around while catching it and still got a huge gain. So yeah,
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
Yeah, he looked good. He looked good. He looked really good.
yeah,
I always measure the UGA running backs like, are they like Nick Chubb or, Todd Gurley where they fall forward. Like
mm,
even in the 2 yards in a cloud of dust, they still fall forward and figure out a way to get 3 yards, or they're stopped behind the line and still figure out a way to get 3 yards. Like Robinson, Branson didn't really, I mean, he got stood up every single play. Like as soon as you got laid hands on him, he was going to the ground. And
yeah,
if he's not getting yak, then I have a feeling that they're not going to be a running back, that's going to get a ton of carries anymore, because like you just need those guys that just figure out a way to get yards. I mean,
yeah,
Branson started off the game where he was like dancing around, like just hit the hole and run, like you know what I mean, like.
yeah.
And there were times when he made the wrong decision. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. Look at Beck. Beck developed into a fantastic quarterback. Maybe he's just not ready for prime time, and Nate's ready. A lot faster than anybody really realized. So
Yeah, he's coming off a pretty major injury. Kind of
right.
gets thrust into this starting role basically due to another injury and suspension. So I feel like he was kind of put in a tough spot. Would have loved to see him go out there and dominate. Didn't plan out that way. Had a bit of a rough start, but Nate came in sparked, and I don't know. Maybe Branson just needs to knock some rust off. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing kind of happened with Kendall at times too, right? Like
Yeah,
towards the end of the season, we're like, man, this is the Kendall Milton we wanted and expected.
Right.
It just takes
Right.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be. But yeah, man. So I don't know. Like you said, took the offense a little while to get going, but I mean, I feel like in general the defense was going right from the start. And like, man, how about like first series of the game, the decisive play to force them to punt was a tackle made by KG Bolden. So like, welcome to college football, KG Bolden. Future's very bright for that young man.
Yeah, I mean, think about how unfair it is. How unfair it is. You know, we've got he was the only reason he was playing was because Aguero was hurt, right?
Yes, that's what I mean. That's why he was. Yeah, yeah. So basically, that's what I understand is with Aguero out, they had to go with Starks. Well, obviously Starks gonna be there, but Starks, Jackson, and Bolden. Yeah,
Well, I think that yeah, because Aguero was going to play the star, I think. So they
yeah,
put Starks and star, and that
yeah,
meant that KJ got to go in.
yeah. Exactly.
Um, yeah, but like, just how unfair is that? You throw a true freshman out there that played absolutely lights out.
Yeah,
I mean, the secondary was probably one of the better parts of the defense, right? Like, I mean, we had even their good, pass plays or whatever. I mean, you still had guys that were completely covered up. Like they just happened to make a really great catch, or a
yeah,
really good throw was made, and you just kind of tip your cap and take the loss. But like on the whole, they covered very well.
yeah.
Uh,
Completely
seems
agree.
like it's gonna be a really strong, a really strong aspect of the defense. I'll reserve judgment for when we get to tougher quarterbacks, but we look really good.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that was one of my questions, kind of preseason. Like, much younger secondary. I mean, we lost a lot, and then on top of that, Aguero couldn't go. So you would think maybe a little shaky, but definitely not. I think the other question we had kind of coming in was like, who's going to be the guy to rush the passer, right, and cause that disruption. And I know Jalen Walker and Michael Williams were the guys we were talking about ahead of time. Man, Jalen Walker looked really good out there, rushing the passer, and we got a great Kirby moment where did you see this? Where like Walker fights off a block, fights off a hold, and then makes a stop. And then there's this like there was a camera shot of like Jalen Walker's like celebrating, and Kirby is just calling like saying that he was getting held. It's like giving the hold sign to the
Yeah,
ref.
you had Schumann coming into the frame. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And Kirby's like, where's the home?
Yeah,
The man has a different mindset.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
It's like
man,
it's like when he was trying to get Keeley to go down.
yeah, seriously. Man, but yeah, so he looked really good. I don't know, the whole defense looked good. So that was definitely I don't know. I will say back to kind of like our season preview, I was like, you know, are we ever thinking this with like the whole dominant offense thing? Like it's a Kirby Smart team. We're gonna have a good defense. And so we do. But the offense picked it up in the second half. So
Yeah.
really, really came alive. And it wasn't like, I don't know. I do think, like we said, Clemson had a good defense. And I think they do. I mean, I think they were able to do some things in the first half to slow us down. But like you pointed out, we really got the running game going with Frazier, which I feel like we kind of like made a more noticeable switch at halftime to Frazier. Um, and then definitely, I will say this too. Like, definitely, if you're not, go follow Coach Hayes Huddle. He had a great video, kind of showing how Bobo would show something and then come back to basically the same play, like out of a different formation, to kind of set the defense up, and how he was able to set up like one play that they threw to Lovett early on, but then ran the same play to Arian Smith later for a huge gain. It's pretty cool. So I think kudos to Bobo there, much to the chagrin of. I know there were definitely some Bobo haters out at halftime.
No, there are Bobo haters out.
I know it's shocking.
I know
Very
I know
shocking.
nothing about Bobo haters.
Uh,
But if you are a Bobo hater, this was not the game for you. That is for sure.
yeah.
I think that wasn't it Coach Hayes that was talking, or no, maybe it was one of the other guys, the film guy. What's his face? I can't remember.
Brooks.
Brooks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Brooks. He had posted something along the lines of like that basically early on Bubba went away from like man coverage scheme and went to like zone beater scheme. So
Mm.
like they were dropping into zone, so he had to change he changed his play calling up pretty quickly into the game, from what I understand from folks in the arena.
Yeah, my like following the ball type of watching football was like I definitely the only thing I noticed in the first half was everything was very lateral and short early on as far as what the offense was doing. And maybe
Hmm.
Clemson was just doing a good job of taking away the deeper stuff. I don't know. Or maybe we were doing stuff
Yeah,
to set them up later. But when Beck started throwing the ball down the field, like in like over the middle of the field, is when things really opened up.
yeah.
So yeah.
First touchdown catch for Mr. Humphreys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. London. London calling will be the I'm sure that we'll hear a Scott Howard London calling joke in there somewhere at some point through the season.
Yeah,
Uh,
that sounds right.
we got to break out the human victory cigar pretty early.
Man, he looked good. Cash Money Jones coming in for the 9-9 and the 2000.
Bling bling.
The video may or may not have been tweeted during the game.
Yes. We were on the same wavelength there. That was
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
Colby Young too. I mean, how about the transfer impact for the Georgia offense there with both Colby Young caught the first touchdown of the game, and then London Humphrey scores a touchdown as well.
yeah.
No.
Seth Emerson was quick to point out in the stats that UGA's transfers scored 12 points and Clemson's transfers scored 0.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Eh,
Okay.
Man, it was a good game. It was a good game all around. Definitely was unnecessarily worried. Unnecessarily worried about the game in the end.
Yeah. I had people. I had. We ran into one of Kim's coworkers, our friend Kelly. So we were actually sitting right by her. I ran into her at Oregon game. She had texted me though. She was another person that was on Friday. It was like, "What's going on? Why is the line moving?" Like everything. So, yeah, man, all that dissipated throughout the game. Also, I would say too. I guess only other thing I want to point out is the kicking game, the special teams. Like I loved like everything that I saw. So Brett Thorson again, like absolute weapon. No, still no one's returned a punt against him. Um, we were kicking the ball off out of the end zone. They weren't returning kicks. We were fair catching or just letting the kickoffs go, which I love. Like keep the ball 25, I don't care. And then we had a payday with his field goals. That 55-yarder one was that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were talking about how his long was like 45 or something like that. So he just clocked another career notch on his belt there, and
Yeah,
he squeaked it in.
it
That
was.
was
Yeah,
at first I was like, was it in? I don't even know.
yeah. That's the kind of thing that I had no idea in the stadium. Totally didn't realize that until like either this morning or yesterday. How close it was.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
actually thought that it had like dinked the inside of the post, but it just barely squeaked through.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. And I haven't fully like rewatched the game, but I've just watched highlights and stuff. So,
Right.
yeah. In the
The only
stadium, it was kind of hard to hear the ref too. I don't know if that came through on TV, but there was definitely times where like the ref was announcing something and everyone in our section was like, what? Like, what do you say? Like there was the targeting at one point where they were reviewing for targeting and it wasn't targeting, but we never even heard him announce it, but whatever.
I will say that one of the things that will wait and see what happens as the season rolls through, and it's obviously hard, with the way that the results, panned out or whatever. But one of the guys that we talked about preseason, or that I talked about preseason, as being like an impact player, Anthony Evans,
Yeah.
no targets at the wide receiver position, just nothing but fair catches. Like, is he getting Logan grade? Like, what's going on?
Well, he did return some punts, but he
I
all he did was return punts. Yeah. I
mean,
don't
Logan Gray returned a couple of punts.
well, for sure. But yeah, I didn't see him like I don't remember him being out there on offense. I mean, he definitely didn't have any targets, but again, I was sitting at the upper deck and I haven't rewatched it. So but yeah,
I don't
that
recall
was
him
yeah,
being out there.
that definitely was surprising to me too. But I mean, I don't know. I
Hard
guess you
to argue with results.
correct. Agreed.
Yeah.
So
Anthony, or sorry, when Dylan Bell went down and they brought in London, I mean, that's again just another example of like it's just not fair. Like Kirby throws this guy out here when I don't know if he was supposed to be out there for that series or what, but like Dylan Bell had noticeably gone down, so he was a new addition to the wide receiver core, and that at that point.
yeah. Yeah. And man, all those guys look good. Like Dylan Bell looked really good. Like I think I texted you just like Dylan Bell, all caps and exclamation points or something at one point. He looked
Another thing
good.
that I'll be watching, another thing that I'll be watching was at the tight end position. Like,
Mm,
Delph wasn't like a huge impact, but like Lucky was.
hmm
He had a couple of long catches. So, but for folks that are saying like how do you answer the losing, Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers, like we figured out how to get the ball in our playmakers' hand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, not a whole lot other than to say that, I mean, Dabo told his bedtime story and
Debo, yeah, we had a little bedtime story at the end. Um, yeah, I mean, speaking of Dabo, like at the end in his press conference, he was like, "Georgia's going to make a lot of teams look terrible."
I heard that. Yeah,
And
there.
I messaged you guys. I was like, is it crazy to think that this is going to be like the team that we just shellacked, much like we did with Oregon, the year we shellacked them. This is going to be a top defense in the country. And by the way, I personally think that they're going to be in the driver's seat to be playing for the ACC at minimum. Possibly an ACC champion. So, um,
they still could be.
just think about that.
Yeah, that would be wild. And yeah, it would be, you're right, man. Very much like Oregon 2 years ago. Which hey, I mean, also we've got this board and haven't mentioned it. Also, speaking of Oregon 2 years ago, Malachi Starks with like the same interception, but on the opposite side
Yeah.
of the field. Holy cow.
Yeah. The thing about that catch that is just so impressive to me is you saw the catch that he made against Oregon when he was a true freshman, and
Mhm.
he comes back and catches it, but like the kid went further back and then also had the wherewithal and body control to like turn himself in midair so that he could have a
Yeah.
softer landing or whatever. Whereas that one, he very clearly has gotten more athletic, and I think that it was kind of more of a situation where he's showcased a little bit more athleticism this year, and then he's just getting better.
Yeah,
It's just a
I
scary
don't
thought.
think I don't think you could have told me before the game that he would make a more acrobatic, athletic interception than the Oregon game, but I totally agree with you. Like when you watch them side by side, I think it's even more impressive, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, yeah,
The school has put out some really good content, by the way. And they had a really good like split screen video they posted today of the two side by side. It's pretty cool.
yeah. I think I saw that one.
Yeah. Um
But as they say on Coming to America, that boy good.
That book. It's amazing. Let's see. Let's hit coaches over unders before I forget. We both had a really good week. You were perfection, 8-0 on coaches over unders. I went 7-1. I was trying to figure out what it was that we disagreed on. I didn't realize we agreed on so much. I clearly wasn't paying enough attention. But it was the sacks, from what I recall. I believe I took over on Georgia sacks and you went under, and you were correct. So we did have some sacks, but we didn't hit the over. So yeah. So thanks, coach, for tracking those. I think we'll get the
I
we've
wish I
got
was
the
wrong.
all good, all good. I think we'll get to the pick stuff. We still got one game going on tonight from the picks, so we'll get back to those. But
How are they doing? Are they still losing?
yeah, Boston College is still winning, but they were coming back a little bit.
28-13.
But with man, definitely. Let's see. We both took Notre Dame, so that was right. I think we both took LSU though. That was a bit stunning last night with the
It was
USC
it
comeback.
was it was a little stunning.
But nothing was as stunning to me as
They should have won. They should
yeah.
what Brian Kelly. Brian
Mhm.
Kelly was right. They should have won that game.
Yeah, I think they should have. They should have too.
Frankly, I thought A&M should have had a better shot, but whatever.
That was a good game. That was a good game. The thing
It
that
was
was
been
so
back and
wild to me,
forth.
and that because I had no idea because it was the same time as our game and being at the game, that Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech in overtime. Like I found out like hours later. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I was
I
not
was
paying attention.
I can't remember what game we were watching, but I was at a friend's house and we had a little get together after the Georgia game was over to watch the rest of it was the Florida game we were watching mostly. So like it kind of flew under the radar that Virginia Tech kind of came back a little bit. I think it was a 10-point game when I was like, oh wow, Vandy's winning. I'll have to check back in. And then we just kept watching the debacle that was the Miami Florida game. It's just like, golly, this is brutal, 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 brutal.
That game was it was a tough watch. We that was on my sister's when I got back, and yeah, that game was wild. I will say though, to pronounce correctly, there is currently just one in Florida, so they are right now Florida. I'm going to reset it since we're at the beginning of the season. So there is one L in Florida.
I don't know, man. He took another L at that press conference messing around with that water bottle.
Yeah.
You saw that, right?
No,
Like,
I don't. No, I actually haven't seen that.
I posted a video today, actually right before we started recording.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
had been wondering when I was going to post a new Clown King, and it was that video.
Okay.
So you have to go and check out my feed for the updated view,
Got it.
updated Clown King from the great state of Florida.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So that's it for coaches. Coach, thank you as always for tracking all of that for us. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Um
especially since I'm winning.
okay, fine. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Hey, you went perfect. Had a perfect
I
week.
did go perfect. I did way better in coaches over unders than I have against Carter in NCAA football.
Nice. I haven't been playing. That's go out of town for the weekend. You don't end up playing much.
I jumped into a game with him today, and I was like very curious to see because after watching the Miami game, Cam Ward looks like he's a legit player, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh, let's play some college football. I want to see if this kid's any good on the game. And the game does not do that boy any justice whatsoever. I got absolutely trounced
Mm, got it.
trounced by Clemson, which is why I say, like, hey, I think that Clemson could still have something to say to Miami about that.
I feel like they do need to update the game for Georgia, or maybe I just need to manually change the rotation. Like I feel like that game needs to put Arian Smith in more often. So maybe I might have to modify that. So
Right.
but yeah, man. Shoot, Humphreys was like the leading receiver in the game, right? So wasn't expecting that. But hey, like I said, can't argue with the results. I'll take it. I did like on his touchdown when he like put his shoulder down into that guy. So
Yeah, he was ready.
pretty
He was
sweet.
ready to roll. Speaking of after the touchdown, Nate Frazier with the
Oh, the bow and the jazz hands. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. The kid knows his Georgia history. Apparently, and he tweeted. I guess he said that like he had said beforehand that he was gonna keep that tradition alive. So that's pretty cool.
So is that like a thing that you have to be invited to? Is it I joked, I was like, welcome to the RBU fraternity, but like there have been other like I haven't seen Cash Jones to it. Like
Well, that's because he's got his own celebration with the cash money.
but like I haven't seen any of the other running backs do it. Like I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure Branson scored a touchdown. I've seen Rod Robinson score a touchdown, right? Like
yeah. I'm trying to
what
think.
is it
Yeah,
like an invite only country club? Like does Todd Gurley and Sonny Michelle have to give you a call and Nick Chubb like, hey,
right.
we
Well, I
want,
don't
we
know. I
want
mean,
you we want you to be part of the inner circle.
right. I feel like Chubb didn't so much of that, but Swift
Didn't
did.
Chubb did? Oh yeah, Swift did the bow.
Swift
I
definitely
thought
did the bow.
I could have sworn that Chubb did the bow.
I feel like Chubb just always did like the Lion King, like jump up in the guy.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. That man, I tweeted that out from the account when that happened, and that went crazy. People liked that observation. So
Yes.
yeah, that was cool. That was cool to see. I mean, people say so much like these days, like these kids, like they don't know. You're like, no one cares that Herschel Walker played at Georgia, and even more recent players like, oh, they don't know who Todd Gurley is or whatever. So I think it's cool to see, a freshman come in and pay homage to some former greats like that. I think it's pretty cool.
Make a couple of statements.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, anything you got? Anything else on Clemson, or do we wrap a bow on this one?
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I got nothing else on Clemson. I do have a question. Maybe we need to revisit it. And it is NCAA related. So when we played NCAA, something that didn't come up in the fun facts was that have you ever played Clemson at Death Valley in that game?
No, no.
So they do Howard's Rock and the rundown and all that stuff. But one
Mhm.
of the other things that they did was they had like this hand truck with a cannon on it. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen that before?
No, no. I've never been to it. I've never been when Georgia plays there. I've never gone.
I meant to look it up for the episode because I was like, did I miss like a fun fact? Like what did I miss? Like what is this guy? He's like moving around like a that you'd move a refrigerator with or something like that. And there's a cannon on the bottom of it. Like what is happening?
Gotcha.
When
Yeah.
when that came up in the game against Clemson on that Carter and I were playing, we both looked at each other like, "The heck was that?"
That's funny. There was a cannon in Mercedes Benz shooting out like Aflac ducks. So I remember like when I was in school for Chick-fil-A Bowl once they like dropped cows from the ceiling. They were basically shooting Aflac ducks out of like a t-shirt cannon. Lily was quite disappointed that she didn't get one. But that was the thing. So that's the only canon reference I can give you there.
Right. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm gonna be like looking it up. I'm gonna look it up because Carter and I were
Save it.
definitely.
You have to save it. Let's whenever you figure out the answer, save it. Hold on until the next time we preview Georgia at Clemson, whenever that is.
Next time.
That could be your fun fact then. Cool. All right, man. Well, great start to the season. I think exceeded even our expectations. Yeah, man. Assume nothing. I don't know. It was another
That's a
dog beat down at Clemson.
That is a great phrase for these Bulldogs. Assume nothing.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
But it was fun. I'm glad you guys had a good time. We had a good time as well on our end. Got some good banana pudding.
Nice.
Had some great burgers at my buddy's house. He cooked. It was great.
Awesome.
Good
Nice.
setup. Super jealous, but hopefully we'll be watching more games there at some point.
Nice. Sweet. Cool.
Cool, man. Well, I guess we got our first home game of the season coming up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Back between the hedges.
we'll be back for Tennessee Tech and the Golden Pantry Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Go dogs.
Go dogs.